So,
and before we get started again, is I give you a ring of money, mostly American money, and what it was, it goes towards all the money I got when I get my mail, and I used to get mail all the time from Hockey Night in Canada, but now I get it. Believe it or not, I get it a lot of from overseas, and they send American money, Germany and Finland, and believe it or not, and America, and you always get a return with the stamp on it. Now I'm going to ask you a question: if I have from Germany and it has a German stamp on it, does it make it back to Germany? I don't know. We have to find that out.
I never
think
could
they
figure
do.
that out.
I think it does.
I think it does. And I have from Finland too. Anyhow, I give you the money.
Yep.
And all the money that's sent to me for the mail and all that stuff and everything like that, and to do it, is they always send them American money no matter where they are. I guess that's the only money. And
Well, they send it so if they don't have a stamp, then you can buy the stamp.
well, yeah, not only that, just the trouble of doing it, and the Americans always, when they send it, they always have a return.
They
thing
call it
inside.
self-addressed stamped envelope.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a young kid, they always, when you were sending in autographs for the young kid shows, you always said, "Don't forget your self-addressed stamped envelope."
And they do, and they send it now to the Boston Bruins alumni, and what else? There's some other place they send it to. Anyhow, they send it to you, and anyhow,
Hockey Night in Canada sometimes.
Well, we get a lot of requests on Facebook when people send us books for you to sign.
Yeah.
They send us the book, and then they include a check to the Don Cherry Pet Rescue Foundation. So that's pretty good. Can you imagine that? They actually donate to the foundation because you're signing something for them.
Well, don't forget all the people that the money I got, I didn't keep. I give
Yeah.
it to you to give to the.
to the dogs.
All cash.
Yep. And that's the one good thing for people who are asking for autographs of famous people and stuff. Send an envelope, self-addressed stuff, because there's nothing worse than you open up your mail and you say, "Can I have a picture?" Then you got to go and you got to get an envelope, and then you got to find their address.
Yeah, I
and
do
you
it
got to
though.
mail.
You know, I did that to the Boston. Now that I think about it, Montreal Canadiens when I was a kid. Kenny Reardon and all, and we used to sit at Ed Birchall's kitchen, and we used to write these guys, and we never put an envelope in it. And I often think if we had to put an envelope, I could have got a picture of.
Did they ever get back to you?
No,
No.
And Ron McLean said the only guy that really answered him and sent him a letter was Jacques Plante.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was his favorite hockey player.
Well, you are very dedicated
Yeah, I'm
to your
nuts.
snail. It's the snail mail, emails, whatever. But when people send you a mail, you are very, very religious in returning that.
I got enough pictures. I get a lot of pictures and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So let's get into the
baseball.
hockey. No, we just finished.
I know. I want to do baseball again. All I want to do, and I want to wish them, and I hope they have that South Korean. Is it North or South Korean?
South Korean. Rue.
Rue, yeah. I hope I guess he's not going to do the first pitch because it's 5 days. Anyhow, I'm a real baseball fan, and I'm a real Blue Jay fan, and now that the Red Sox are out, and I hope they do well.
That's good. But the one thing too about this series, like you said, boy, are they hitting, but lots of scrums. But I kind of laughed at Corey Perry grabbing, I forget who it was, on Tampa and choking him. The guy got up and they were really going at it, but that reminded you of something, right?
Oh, yeah, Bobby Bond. I'll never forget it. I was playing for Hershey. I was 19 years old. I was just a rookie. And I'm just standing watching a fight, and for some reason he grabbed me from behind and put a headlock on me. What the hell's going on here? And I fell down, and guys were on top of me. And more I struggled to get loose, the more he held on. He was a strong guy. And I thought, this is how you die. I'm dead. And I was one step away from falling, passing out and dying. Well, if you don't get air. And but I'll tell you after that, boy.
Well, he taught you a lesson, right?
He taught me a big lesson. When there was a fight going on, I wasn't like a dumbhead standing there watching the fight. I was ready to go. Anytime there was a fight going on, and the guy went to grab me, and I said, if you're going to grab me, we're going to go.
It was funny. We were talking about that. It's almost getting too much pushing and shoving.
Well, pushing and shoving. I remember when I played. The first referee said to the linesman, "Let him go." Holy, let him go! The guy almost fainted because they have.
That's
that
what you used to call the most feared 3 words in hockey. Let them go.
Let him go, and the but they don't now. The referees
but imagine if they did step back. So you want to go?
You want to go? Go ahead.
I remember what you were telling about Uncle Rich when he was in a fight when he grabbed them by their sweater in the front and then kept twisting, and he would just stand there, and meanwhile he'd be twisting.
He was
the
so
sweater
strong
around their neck.
And you know who did that? I remember. What he'd do was he'd stand there watch the fight, and he'd tighten the sweater up, and the guy. So I'm watching from the bench one time. There was something going on, and I'm watching Stan Jonathan, and Stan Jonathan is just watching, and he's getting the sweater tighter, and the guy's trying to get away, tighter and tighter and tighter. It lined the thing, and the air cut off, and the guy fainted. So I asked Stan after. I said, "Gee, what happened?" I said, "I knew what happened." And I said to Stan, "Stan, what?" I said, "I don't know." He says, "I just looked." He said, "I know what happened. Cut the air off." So how do we get into that? Anyhow,
well, we're just saying that.
Did you let him go? I mean, all those scrums after. Oh yeah, yeah. And
well, it would stop it in a game, right?
Yeah.
So did you say that ever happened to you? That you weren't ready to go, and the guy said, "Go ahead."
Never happened to me, but I was on the ice. I was on the ice when 2 guys I knew didn't want to fight, and they said, "Let him go," and they both go, "Wait a minute, we're just yapping here," and no, I never happened to me.
No.
Brad Park, I got to tell you one story. Maybe you young coaches can do this with the defenses, laugh a lot of shots from the point. The first day, about the third practice, he brought out a 2x4. What in the world? Like I went to him. I said, "What are you doing with the 2x4?" He says, "That's the size of a blade of a hockey stick. I'll get it over that, and it'll be." And I never thought of that.
Yeah, remember the whole thing was I don't know what I guess it was the final and the semifinals that he just got the puck and he just sifted it along the ice
Right along the ice.
and it beat Dryden. I don't know how many goals he got or rebounds. Remember? If you wound up and you blast it, but if you just
put it on slow.
Just put it on slow along the ice. He got a bunch of goals on Dryden doing like that.
I think he got one.
Tell us some stories about the dressing room with Brad Park and all that of you.
I remember
because
when
he's coming from New York, right? So he's sort of an intellectual.
And they had, I must talk about all that. And the morning skate, they always you have a morning skate. Yeah, get ready for the game, but all that stuff.
All that,
but you have to say something. So, and you say any questions, no, I'm doing. They can hardly wait to get
it's
home.
It's like asking someone how they're doing. It's just a matter of whatever.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get ready. Forget what I said. It was like just nothing. And any questions, and nobody questioned. And when I said the question, well done. Well, Grapes, what in the world? Like he's asking a question, so I'm standing there waiting.
So he did it a couple of times.
And he did it a couple of times, and the guys are looking at me and say, "What do you want me to do?" So I come in before a game and I said, "Okay, all right, any questions?" And not you, Brad. And Brad, he was a real team guy. He really was. He really he wanted to play, and he played hurt. And it come along at a time when Bobby Orr, what do you win 8 in a row? I think.
Yeah, eight Norrises in a row.
8 Norrises in a row. He just happened to come along at the time when Bobby was at his best, and nobody's going to win. Harry Hall, God love him, he just died last year. He was the last guy to win it. He says, "I'm so happy to win the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman," he says, "because nobody's winning in a long time." And that was Bobby. I think he won 8 in a row.
Must have really been something. How many games did you have Bobby Orr and Brad Park at the points? It wasn't that many games.
And we're going on.
It was 10.
I think it was 10. What was it? And we won 9 out of 10.
Yeah, we lost the first game, and then we wheeled off 9 straight.
I remember Harry phoning me after the Vancouver game, and we lost 5-3. I'll never forget it. I knew these guys were unbelievable. And Harry said, "Harry, I saw something." He says, "Well, you better." I says, "Because if they lose, we're both gone." I remember him saying that. and I knew we wouldn't lose. And they were the first guys that used to go wide on the blue line. Like everybody, like all the defensemen used to go short, like close and past the puck. They were way, way at the side. And Brad
Like close to the boards, you mean? Or
yeah, they were left-hand shots, close to the boards,
Yeah.
And he just sifted that puck, and he played the right side too, but he played the left side because I told him to play the left side, and he just put that puck over to Bobby.
So he was the one that kind of feathered it to Bobby.
And he feathered it to Bobby. Bobby be waiting.
Two cannons there.
Oh, I remember they played against Cesar Maniego. And I think we had 60-some shots. I mean, I know some guys had more shots, but these were like killers. And they asked Cesar after the game. He says it was like having two cannons out there. And I remember the referee. I remember the referee called a timeout, let on something happen to give him a rest. And there's a picture. And
to give the goalie a rest.
Give Cesar Maniego a rest. And the Boston fans give him a standing ovation because he
gave the other opposing goalie a standing ovation.
Yeah,
Wasn't that something?
and those two guys were great. And I remember I phoned my mother and I said, "Ma, I've just won the Stanley Cup." Little did I know that after the 9th game, Bob. I remember getting on the plane and we're going to Chicago, and Bobby's leg. Locked on.
Well, we should, again, if people haven't heard, it's interesting how the whole thing went. The last game Bobby played was for the Bruins was against the Rangers in New York.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We're going a little too long here. But I remember he playing against John Davidson. John Davidson was in the net. And John Davidson had a great big glove. He was one of the biggest goalies at the time.
Yeah, back then he was huge. Yeah.
Him and Dryden. But he was, and the New York, and they still have it, and I saw it the other day, that they park the bus down below and they walk up. It's okay walking up, and it's like cobbles and everything.
It's a ramp.
It's a ramp for trucks and but the bus couldn't get up there. So he walked up, and Bobby, I think he had 2 goals and assists. We won 5-3, and I'm sitting in the bus, and I saw him walking down, and I saw him, and I get on the bus, and if you have a sore knee, anybody has a sore knee, walking down, it's hard. Walking up I don't know why, but that's the way it is. And
walking up, my knee's a little sore. Walking up's okay. Walking down, it hurts.
I don't know why, but anyhow, I'm sitting on the bus, and I said, "Bobby, did you hurt your knee during the game?" He says, "No." He says, "I kind of twisted it coming down that ramp." And the next game, we were flying Chicago, and it locked on him. And I still blame that ramp. I never thought of having the bus, but I mean, he'd walk. But I see those guys walking up the ramp now and walking down the ramp.
Yep. So again, we got a new sponsor. It's Spreads, SPREADS.ca, and it's a First Nations owned online casino and sportsbook, and it's owned by the Abenaki Council of Wolnock, First Nations in Quebec. And if you sign up now and enter the promo code GRAPES, because one day we should have to go in like how you got your nickname Grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll go.
A long one.
Yeah, and they'll match your deposit 100%. So if you put in $25, they'll put in $25. And the good thing for the Canadians, it's Canadian dollars. You're not putting U.S. dollars in. You get 15 free spins to win a cool $1 million, and you'll get a $25 free bet on their sports book. So thanks very much for them to coming on board.
Yes,
and
don't forget your jacket. Bid on the jacket, Cindy.
That's right. Coach's Closet, coopinc.ca.
Help our friends.
That's right.
So we'll see you next week, and by the next time,
2 million people.
Oh, that's right. We forgot to say we last week we hit 2 million downloads. So we want to thank everybody for listening and subscribing and following us. We appreciate it. And actually, after next week we'll be talking about who won the Stanley Cup, right? And we'll be talking about the baseball because the baseball will be going on.
Maybe we could talk about celebrations, Dad. Some celebration stories.
Yeah, we must talk about that. One just before we leave. I don't understand baseball. They make the playoffs, and it's like, in hockey, nobody cares who ends up second. I mean, if you get the finals and you lose, it doesn't matter. But baseball... you guys went with the Bruins. You never were awarded like the We don't want it. We didn't want it because if you don't win the Stanley Cup, nobody remembers a second place. It's like when we're over in Europe and then we play for bronze and that. The reason we lose is because we don't care. We either number one or we don't want anything.